Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it happens to be for you. Welcome to another scene in the living world of darkness. Tonight, our scene is a crossover between the mage and changeling venues. Our scene begins in a small noodle house in Brooklyn, known to the public as Ramen Yebisu. It is one of the most raved about ramen shops in New York. And Jade actually hasn't been there before. Preferring to head to places like Ryujin Ramen, which is a little closer to home, or Okonomi, which is closer to work. But seeing that she has never been here before, and there are only a few spokes left on this turn of the wheel before the world ends, or so she would tell you if you were to ask her, she decided to live it up and get some nice ramen from a nice, expensive place.
Perhaps it's a twist of fate, perhaps it's a quirk of it or whatever, or there happens to be at least two spots open right up at the front counter of this particular noodle shop, able to watch as things are going on. And already seated there, reading a book while he waits for his order to come along, is the man that you probably are seeing before you right now. A little bit of stubble upon his chin, sharp business suit sort of individual with startling blue eyes, but for whatever reason, despite the fact he actually looks to be in like his early 30s, there's a very premature gray at his temples. But right now he's just reading a book, a French titled book actually at the moment, and he's just flipping through it, but he's not actually, and he's muttering to himself, but he's not muttering in French as he's reading the book. He's muttering to himself in Cantonese.
See, muttering in Cantonese and the book in presumably not Cantonese, possibly French or Spanish or some other Latin-based language that isn't English that Jade doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Catches her attention because, well, Cantonese doesn't sound anything like it might be a Latin-based language. So, seeing that the man is actually pretty attractive, she will go ahead and take a spot next to him and chat him up while she waits for her food.
Though he actually almost seems like a sort of like prickling moment. It's like sort of like take a small like intake of breath for a moment before he puts a hand to his temple.
Headache?
Yes, just a little bit. Sorry, it's not common. This one just seemed to have sprung out of nowhere.
Probably the crazy weather.
Let's say it's the weather or the late nights.
It could also be that.
Do you come to this place often?
No, actually, this is my first time. But I figure there's really no time like the present to get some apparently pretty kick-ass ramen.
Well, Oh, afraid there's only water at the moment for you, but I'll toast to that. To first timers in a place of impermanence.
To first timers in a place of impermanence. And she will clink her glass to his.
I'm Charles, by the way.
I'm Jade. Nice to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you, too. He closes the book and he puts it down now that he has a talking partner. So what brought you to this particular restaurant? I know you said it's kick-ass, but there had to have been at least some attraction.
Well, I've been hearing about this place actually, I've been hearing about the chef here forever. He used to serve his recipes in some other places around the city in little after-hours pop-ups. You know, like one place would close and then, oh, hey, from midnight until 4 a.m. you can come in and get this ramen. And now finally he's got his own place. And of course, it's always crowded because everyone, word of mouth travels. People, he'd vanish from one restaurant for a few months and pop up in another one. And now he's got his own place, and it's always in the same place. Thank goodness.
Interesting.
And yeah, I never managed to catch him at any of those places, and with all the craziness that's been happening around here lately, it just seemed like there's no time like the present to have that ramen that you've been hearing about for years.
I can definitely agree on that. Granted, I only heard about this maybe a few days ago.
Really?
I'll admit I've been rather busy with a lot of things, and I've been frequenting. Well, I've been going to a lot of different restaurants, and my job is my marriage. It's a ball and chain, and I can't get away from it for very long.
Ah.
Yes,
I can understand that.
Does your does your job call you at the drop of a hat, of a moment's notice, possibly at 2:37 in the morning?
My steady regular job, no, but my side gig sometimes.
Side gig? You have two jobs.
I'm gonna have to roll subterfuge for that.
So I'm assuming perception, empathy on that one.
I think it's perception subterfuge now.
Oh, okay. Good, even better for me. Well, actually, I don't think it's that much better. Let me see.
Let's see. What is this? This is...
Oh, it's 4 dice. Okay, cool. Cool. Where's my... I'm still getting used to this dice roller.
Three successes.
You got how many?
3.
3 successes. Okay, let's just see. You never know. I might be able to match that, but you're the defender, so you'd win if I got the match. No, stop that. That is not what I want. Shame on you. Anyway. No, did not get any successes, so did not notice.
So she'll say, I guess you could say my side gig involves a lot of work with bait. I read fate, I respond to fate. Fate calls, and I'm there.
Interesting. Leaving your life to the whims of something greater than yourself.
You could say that.
Interesting. I'm not sure I could quite let myself be just bound by destiny. I much prefer having an action of my own, taking a hand and writing my own story.
Oh, I don't by any means bind myself to destiny. I mean, that's the thing about fate, right? Everybody thinks it's this one line, this one thread from birth until you die, and once you reach the end, it frays and your life ends, you know. But no, that's not it. Each person's fate is literally a tapestry of their choices and the inevitable consequences of them. You know, like for example, last weekend I went out. I was helping a friend get his mom settled into a new place. And wouldn't you know it, the car breaks down because we hit some kind of escaped wildcat, and the next thing I know, we're all being attacked by stray dogs.
It's a pretty large extent. That's a pretty sorry, I'm trying to think of the right word. What's the right word for this? I know it. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. Je ne sais quoi. No, that's not it either. That seems like a very I can't think of the word. It's like it's bad luck would be a poor way to put it, but it's unfortunately the only thing I can think of right now.
Bad juju.
Bad juju. That's a good way. Lots of bad juju.
Yeah. I mean, quite frankly, it was, but that was the inevitable consequence of my decision to go out last weekend. Now, here's the thing, though. I didn't know that animals were suddenly going to go bonkers and escape the zoo last weekend.
He actually takes a very certain amount of interest in your statement for a moment, and now he's actually paying a lot more attention.
And I certainly didn't know that if I went out, that's what was going to happen. I'm not that kind of fortune teller.
He sort of leans forward for a moment, and he's like, look, well, he's looking right at you for a moment. Like he's trying to like peer into something that he can't quite see for a moment, and he's like going. But it's a long stare for a moment before he suddenly goes, sort of rubs his forehead again. I'm sorry, you said they escaped from the zoo.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's the only place a wildcat like that would come from, unless some idiot was keeping it as a pet, in which case, no shit, it escaped. It's a wild animal. Why do people keep them as pets?
He's taking a very intense interest at this moment. It's like, what else do you remember from those nights?
Let's see. I met a guy who apparently has a crush on one of my friends, even though I've never met him before, which seemed a little weird to me, but whatever. And we wound up hitting up the same bar. That night was crazy. People screaming. I went back to check on my neighbors, and of course, they're all fine because we live in a nice building with not the world's greatest security, but I mean, you're not gonna break down the front door either. Especially, and even if you did, well, then there's fire doors and other big heavy barriers that you'd have to get through to actually get to someone. So of course, nothing's going to come into the building and mess up my neighbors, but for all I know, Debbie could have been downstairs throwing her garbage in the dumpster and been mauled by another pack of stray dogs.
At that point, like, he was about to say something, but at that point, his bowl of ramen comes in. It's actually when you see the bowl, you actually realize why it took so long. Because there is literally everything that could be possibly put in a ramen bowl in this bowl.
Holy cow. What did you order?
I think I ordered everything.
That's about what I ordered.
Oh. Well, that probably explains why yours is taking so long, too, he says as he gets his chopsticks out. And just to clarify, I know this may sound a little odd, but this event where you were, whether you and your friends were attacked by wolves or bears or cats or whatever, zoo animals, and also that party you mentioned, that wouldn't have happened during this week, would it have?
Yeah, like in the past 7 days. Maybe 8. Actually, maybe 9. I'm thinking, but I don't know. What day is today?
Oh, God, don't ask me that. God, it feels like it's been 3 weeks. Or is it 2 days? I don't know. Is it... I think, and he takes actually a moment, like he's actually like seriously concentrating for a moment to try and figure it out. Thursday, Friday. It's Friday. Friday. Today is a Friday.
Then, yeah, I think it actually was. I think it actually was about a week ago.
He sort of like has his hand on his chin for a moment, and that was the wildcat attack in the car, or the party.
Both. Although I suppose technically the party would have been the day after, because I wound up sleeping there.
The week before, did you have dreams?
Terrifying nightmares, yes, but I have terrifying nightmares most nights.
The kind where there's someone holding a blade high aloft and grinning at you, and as its heads pop one by one.
Yeah, that was the dream. And then all of a sudden, blood poured from the necks, and I don't know, people-looking things started drinking it.
And there were times, too, not necessarily maybe you, but there were times, too, where maybe someone would wake up and they wouldn't know whether or not they were awake or dreaming still.
Yeah. I usually know. I usually know when I wake up and I'm not in a dream anymore. But yeah, there have been times where where that's happened. And come to think of it, there were some really, I mean, just some really jittery people last week. Like, not, oh hey, I'm on my upteenth cup of coffee jittery, but jitterily like they thought Jason was gonna come out with a chainsaw and cut them in half.
He sort of takes a moment, like he closes his eyes as though thinking for a moment before he goes, I don't think that was Jason. I think that was something else.
I'm not exactly a horror movie buff.
Neither am I, but that doesn't seem right. Sorry, it's hard to think. I don't meet a lot of people who've been having this dream.
Really?
My coworkers at the force haven't been having it. A few associates I have here and there have. But you're the first one outside those bits of associates of mine that I've met that has had this dream.
Well, in that case, I might as well be honest with you. This incarnation of Earth, probably on its last legs.
Well, that's disappointing. I just got here.
What?
Oh, sorry. I said that out loud, didn't I? Nothing. No, don't mind me.
Okay.
So what makes you think that the world is literally on its death throes right now?
Partly what I've been getting in my cards, and partly, well, observance and applying that to, well, philosophy.
He is slurping up his root noodles as you're talking. He's listening still, but he's still taking the moment, and it's amazing. I mean, despite the fact, he's definitely not overweight, but man, is he just going at these noodles and everything else that's in this.
And as Jade's noodle bowl finally arrives, and she gets her chopsticks and begins to mix things together. Tell me, what do you know about chaos?
The right word can send order scattering, and the right word can bring it back together.
It's also a primordial state of being. Namely, the state of being from which everything in the universe, this reality and others, came into being from nothing. And it is also the state to which everything in the cosmos seeks to return. This perfect state of primordial chaos, at which point things will begin anew. Everything in the universe is part of a self-renewing cycle, including the universe itself.
If you want to go ahead and P&E him, you can.
Okay. That's 4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. Well, to give you some insight into what he's saying, when you're talking about how everything is birthed from chaos, everything starts from like basically a primordial essence and rising up into some form for a while. His sort of nodding at that, there's a deeper reason why he's nodding. Like, oh yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. Yeah, no, I more than understanding. It's like, oh yeah, I know. That's no news to me. Which might seem a little odd. He might not be agreeing with everything you're saying. In fact, the thing that of the idea of going back to nothing but primordial chaos kind of seems a little disturbing to him. But at the same time, he's very much listening intently and formulating. Like, he's taking this information in and puzzling it out.
Well, I suppose Jade will continue. And well, I suppose I should clarify. It is not just chaos. Is not just a primordial state of being. It is a divine primordial state of being, as divine as the energy of creation.
Much like dreams. Dreams are often a chaotic, wild, untamable thing. Wondrous ideas are often birthed from them, and you can find reflections of them in reality. Finds itself its correct inspirational font, so to speak. But they are, at the same time, lost so very quickly.
Or sometimes they stick around with you, and then suddenly you find them coming true.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But the question then leads to the fact, do all dreams die?
She'll take a moment and slurp up some noodles, ponder her answer to that, where she swallows. No, not all dreams die.
And why not?
Well, granted, this is just my theory.
Please thrill me with your acumen.
Dreams are made of a different energy than you and I. Yeah, you and I have.
You should probably roll a P&E on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll a manip sub to see if he can hold it in. I don't think his subversive specialty would come into the fact, but whatever. I mean, unless he's wanting to make you think it's just your own mind playing tricks.
Only 2 successes this time.
Okay, well, let's see how he does. Yeah, no, you don't get him. He just makes it. He makes it by 2. So he manages to keep himself stoic face, but inside he's like snorting with laughter. because of
Well,
how easy it is to fool these mortals. But there's something still very interesting about her, so he's paying attention.
or, well, you and I, we are, we have these fleshy shells, right, that exist in this world, and well, when they die, we're still intact, you know?
So you think that the spirit will continue to exist after death?
It is the divine spark that exists in all of humankind. And possibly all of creation. I won't judge whether or not a tree happens to have a soul. I haven't talked to many trees.
Have you tried?
Yes. They don't always talk back.
Yeah, I have that same problem myself. And there's, I mean, I'm not going to have you roll P&E on this one. I mean, unless you want more information. But there's almost like a very deep, like, sadness when he says that in his face, when he, like, staring off at, like, something he'd lost. Something he's trying to remember.
Well, so, the way I see it, you know, our dreams are made of the same stuff as our intangible, eternal, ethereal selves. I mean, can't be destroyed. It can't be, well, at least not by normal means anyway. Not through part of the natural cycle. It's not destroyed. It's only remolded, reshaped. It flows back into the ether and becomes something else.
But what if a dream is too important to simply be forgotten, simply be reshaped and remolded into something else?
You mean a shared experience like this nightmare?
That could be one way to put it.
Or perhaps a personal dream that becomes a place to which you run when your dreams turn south or things in life seem too bad to deal with. Something like that?
Something like that, yes.
I would imagine it would become its own permanent dimension and somewhere beyond the veil, though I don't know how stable it would be if the person who created it were to disappear. Or through incarnations, even.
What if a dream could exist beyond the knowledge and scope, yet be somewhere deep down within the collective subconscious? something that was a guiding, something that everyone dreamed yet not necessarily remembered, but was always there, just under the surface. Never forgotten and yet never really realized.
Now that is an interesting question. I suppose if we go off my other theory that a dream that's too important to die can become its own realm, that something shared like that would also be its own realm.
Interesting. Very interesting. Dora rubs his head for a moment. Sorry, I seem to be having a really pounding migraine. I haven't had one of these in a while.
Do you mean to take something for it?
Oh, no, these are... It's not chronic, but... I don't know. This has been... It's been a long week. Tell me, when you say you surrender to the whims of fate, or you follow those fates and everything like that, do you see them in others?
Often. Especially if they ask me to.
What if I were to ask you to? Would you see mine?
If you were to ask me to, I would pull my cards out right here and take a look.
Sort of clasps his hands together and he sort of looks at you and he's wanting to see how this is. His curiosity has been piqued by a lot of this conversation. Like, then go ahead.
Alrighty.
The best part is he's not a sleeper.
I know. Alrighty, let's see here. Go ahead and choose 3 cards.
He's he's staring down at the selection of cards for a moment. And he takes like a very long time. Like he's almost like so still, like a statue. You could swear he doesn't even blink for like almost 2 minutes. Well, maybe not 2 minutes, but finally he reaches out and he grabs one, slides it out. Doesn't flip it over, but he does that with 2 more as well, and he gets them arranged in what would probably be the order.
All right. And well, this is interesting. The 6 of Wands, the Lovers, and the Chariot.
And what does that tell you?
Well, cursory reading tells me at some point in the past, You achieved a great victory, and you rode that achievement very well. You inspired other people with your success, and this affirmed your belief in yourself.
There's actually like this widest shit-eating grin on his face, and yet at the same time, it is not pleasant. There's just something so off about that smile. Like he's smiling, like he's just had like the cat swallowed the canary, but it's just way too sharp.
The lovers, the second card you picked. Love is going to play an important part in your life right now, in the present. You might need to mend some fences or get over a breakup.
He sort of frowns at that one.
You need to decide what it is you truly desire. That may be the thing that you need to make yourself whole again.
Go on.
The Chariot. It's pretty simple. You will celebrate victory once again, this time over the extremes in your life, and you'll do it by enforcing your true will.
And this time the smile comes back. And it's like for the first time in like a long, long time, there's real hope and certainty and solidarity and foundation. And at the same time, it's very frightening. There's this dichotomy of like someone who just had been told that basically they're everything that they were, everything that they are is valid in this life, and even the worst aspects of what they are, and are truly just accepting of them.
Let's see. You need to stay grounded, though. That's the problem with the Chariot.
How so? That sort of wipes it off.
Well, enforcing your true will requires, it requires you to be grounded and know what your true will is in order to get a handle on your situation.
So even then, there's still something I have to learn.
Possibly.
Or possibly something I have to remember.
Or it could be...
Excuse me.
Could be you may need a little aid in that. I would recommend an herbal tea, something with dandelion root, roses, motherwort, or wild cherry bark if you can find it. That will help you stay connected to the earth.
There's actually like a deep frown there.
The metaphysical earth. Like the metaphysical element of earth, not this planet. And not that you wouldn't be connected to this planet, but I don't mean the dirt, and I don't mean this planet. I'm not telling you to go out and eat a handful of dirt or, sit in the mud, although apparently some people tell me that is a very grounding experience.
Perhaps I need to remember the words of nature. How to speak to it again. Perhaps there's more.
There can be more.
What, like you're not done with this reading, or that there's more to whatever else is within these things?
Well, I mean, a 3-card reading is the simplest form. There are 6, 9, 10 cards.
Maybe I'll go for a more complex one next time, but I think for right now this is good. Unless you recommend otherwise.
Give me a moment. There may be something I'm missing here. And, against her better judgment, Jade will reach her hand into her pocket and prick her finger on her ritual dagger. And she will begin muttering softly in a language you may recognize as the language of the spirits.
Yeah, there's something that's ringing within his face soul that is, quite honestly, the full suffusion of what remains of what was Charles. Something he recognizes, something deep and resonant within himself, and it's now that he's getting a moment, he's like, ah.
And we are going to quickly cast here. We are going to cast Sense, Fate, and Fortune.
Yay! See how this goes.
She will pick up the Chariot, as that's the card that represents the future in this case, and draw some Enochian symbols on it. And let's see how this goes.
Like I said, he's not a sleeper. I know there's sleepers around, but technically he's the only one paying attention, so.
Yeah, let's see. Wow, this is going to be an interesting difficulty to calculate. Let's see, here we go.
Oh, I love that movie.
We are okay. That drops the difficulty down to 3.
Oh God. Wow, this is the easiest reading I've ever done. Oh my God.
And it's a rope. So,
if you need me to give some information about the character in order to make the reading work too, you're more than welcome to. I mean, I'm sure you're seeing past, present, future, but
okay, we have 3 successes. So, what?
I just know that JD and Turk messaged
What is his?
Dr. Turner and Dr. Hooch, but he's on the team together.
What would you say his driving goal is?
His driving goal is to become what he once was and more. Because he was something great. He was something grand. He was the epitome of something. And the way she might even see this is like, if you can encapsulate, if you can try and imagine this, imagine language. Language so perfect and unbreakable, it literally shapes the world and can break it apart. Unbreakable, like diamond. It is indestructible, immutable, irrefutable. And at the same time, it can cut and destroy.
Ah, okay. Wow, this is interesting information.
Mm-hmm. That's what he wants to get back to.
If you stay focused, you will become indestructible. Something like diamond that could break the world apart and yet never be broken.
Come on, you can do it.
Except by yourself.
He's a Downey Jr.
Or possibly something like you. But you will have to stay grounded and work towards this goal. If you don't, it won't come to pass. I can't tell you when it will happen, or how it will happen, or what you have to do to get there. Aside from, well, it involves the chariot. This is really one of the most complex cards. It's a war, it's a struggle, and it will be a hard-won victory, and possibly even against your very nature. But you can overcome that. This card it's a union of opposites. Yin and yang coming together as one.
I don't think I want to watch that. Unless I feel like crying.
He's like dead silence for a long time as this is being expressed to him. There has been during the entire moment where you're explaining this, there's been like a sort of like open, like almost open-eyed sort of almost like wonder and resolve, and at the same time also confusion. But there's so many emotions going through him right now. It's he's not even like hiding it. He's just so in like something else.
Winning isn't everything, nor it is the only thing. It is the start of things. Don't be reckless. Don't be ruthless. You don't have any need to be. Your victory is assured.
You should watch Spawn.
Hmm.
Why not?
Well,
What about
that gives me a lot of questions, and yet at the same time it gives me certainty. Oh, Gwen. Path you think I should take is not the one for me. He's like muttering to himself, and like he's like almost forgotten your presence as he's talking to, like almost to the air, like he's talking to people who aren't even there. See it. Did you see it? He finally managed to come back. Did you see it?
See what?
Did you see the word? Something unbreakable. Something sharp. Something pure.
I saw you as a diamond without any flaws.
And he smiles. Treasure that gift. Not many see it. Not many people know it. Treasure it. But know that it's mine. No one else's.
I'm going to perception empathy that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been labeling my perception empathy rolls as perception subterfuge, of course.
Of course. It's all fine.
Perception. It's the same dice pool either way.
It's all the same.
3 successes. What is he getting at? Why does he think his future would belong to anyone other than him?
It's not so much that. He's not referring to his future. He's referring to the fact that you saw him. Which is the weirdest thing. You saw his essence. You saw what he truly is supposed to be. And you realize there's more to what he's saying, that diamond is not just anything. It's especially with his statement of like, you saw the word, you saw something unbreakable. A diamond word.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, uncorruptible, unbreakable, and yet could destroy everything. And what's more, you realize he's saying that's him. He is the diamond word.
I'm going to roll perception awareness now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're entirely human.
What? No!
Let's see. That is.
Didn't I just say Jackie Chan?
Bo-do-do-do-do.
Oh boy, 4 successes.
Okay, so I mean, not certain what took so long for you to pick up on this. Maybe it was given this, he'd just been here he only just got here or something, but suddenly something all makes sense. He's definitely not human. There is something more. Maybe it's suddenly all the pieces are just dominoing together. Everything's clicking together. His talk about dreams, his talk about something being more than that, something enduring and stuff, and his fate and his cards, everything is coming together. You have not been talking to a human being this entire time. He's been pretty good at masquerading at it. You're gonna have to give him that at the very least. But now, especially with that comment, with that thing, you know for certain he is not a human being, and he definitely is looking at you as though he knows for a fact that you are definitely not a normal person.
Oh. You do a pretty good job of passing, Legolas. Very good job of passing.
Thank you. I've been working at it for the past 3 years. Now, I have to say, I don't think I've met anyone like you before, though. Are you a prodigal or something else?
It's possible. I have interacted with others like you in the past.
I don't think you've interacted with anything like me.
In your home.
Oh, you've been to our home, have you?
I have been known occasionally to slip there during sleep. I see things, and well, at one point in time, I wrote a best-selling book about the things I had seen in my dreams. Best-selling series of books, actually.
You're welcome.
Information I should not possibly have known. And that set me on the inevitable path that led to our meeting here today.
I think you were right that sometimes fate is a fickle and dangerous and full of bad juju, but at this moment in time, I'd like to think that fate has smiled upon me. It's been a while since I've had at least this much assurance in myself being here in this place.
Well, I'm glad for that. I just hope what I have done is, in fact, a good deed.
Maybe to me. I can't guarantee for others. After all, they tried to shatter me once.
And yet, you are unbreakable.
Exactly. Jade?
Yes?
I'd like to give you my number, if I can have yours.
Certainly.
He pulls out his business card. Charles Egar, criminal psychologist, 32nd Precinct.
Jade will pull out her business card. Jade reads Jade Valentine, herbalist, kisses in herbs and more, Brooklyn, New York.
He puts it in his pocket after putting the number into his phone. I think we're going to have a lot more interesting conversations in the future.
I look forward to meeting you again with whatever time I happen to have left. After all, it is entirely possible, since I am the one making the inquiries of the cards. But it is only my world that is about to end, not anyone else's.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, Jade. This has been a most fortuitous day. That he gets up and he shakes her hand and heads out after of course paying. It's not like he doesn't pay.
Jade will watch him go, then turn to finish her ramen and pay and head out.
And with that, I think we will end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, viewers, for viewing. Good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, in the past, present, future, wherever and whenever you are. Bye-bye.